Mr. Thompson here. We're looking at U.S. History Standard 7, investigate the social, political, and economic developments during the Age of Jackson. In particular, we're looking at Part D of that standard, explain how the significance of slavery grew in American politics, including slave rebellions and the rise of abolitionism. Slavery has been an issue in American politics since the nation's beginning. Slavery was an issue when Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence. The delegates to the Constitutional Convention made a series of compromises addressing slavery to please Southerners. Jefferson and Washington were actually scrutinized and criticized for the contradiction of speaking out against slavery while actually holding slaves. Federal law prohibited slavery in the Northwest Territories so that slaveholding was confined, it was kept south of the Mason-Dixon line. Before the invention of the cotton gin, slavery in the Upper South was essentially dead, while it was slowly declining in the Lower South. The cotton gin and westward expansion revived slavery. Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin in 1793. The cotton gin was a machine that rapidly removed the cotton seed from the cotton fiber that was used to create thread and fabric. By producing more cotton in a day than anyone could by hand, the gin greatly reduced the cost of processing cotton and greatly raised the profits of growing cotton. To further cut costs and raise profits, unskilled slaves were put to work at running the cotton gins in southern states. Politicians in the first third of the 1800s sought to maintain a perfect equilibrium on the issue of slavery in several ways. First, they did this by maintaining an equal number of slave and free states. The second way to maintain peace on the issue was to essentially not talk about it through the gag rule, which kept politicians from even discussing slavery in the House of Representatives from 1836 to 1844. Third, division over slavery was continually minimized through the process of working out these different compromises over slavery in the 1850s. However, as Midwestern and Northern states continued to grow in economic power and population, so political representation, slavery continued to entangle itself in almost every issue facing the nation, such as nullification, states' rights, and the admission of new territories as new states. So bringing new territories in to the U.S. Slavery also affected party politics. The two-party political system reemerged in the 1830s with the birth of the Whig Party. However, this party was short-lived because it was split on the issue of slavery, so the party ended in the 1850s. New parties that were a lot more vocal on abolition, so ending slavery, formed in the 1850s, like the Free Soil Party and the Liberty Party. These parties caused a lot of fear among Southerners who felt increasingly attacked, but by the 1860s had nearly all died out because they had self-destructed. Abolition movements, so efforts to end slavery, had existed in America since the colonial period when the Quakers led the effort to end slavery. The Quakers' popularity lessened after the American Revolution, but then was revived due to the Second Great Awakening reform movements. Three groups of abolitionists emerged during this period. One group, the American Colonization Society, called for the immediate emancipation and transportation of freed blacks back to Africa to settle the new colony of Liberia. The second group, the American Anti-Slavery Society, was led by William Lloyd Garrison and called for the immediate emancipation by any means necessary. A moderate group, the Liberty Party, pledged to end slavery through legal and political means. Some of the most notable abolitionists were Frederick Douglass, William Lloyd Garrison, and the Grimke sisters. Garrison was a leading voice for many reform movements, but abolition was a specifically important cause for him. Garrison was the founder and editor of the Liberator newspaper, which was the leading abolitionist newspaper, which depicted graphic stories of the evils of slavery. Frederick Douglass was a former slave who worked for Garrison in the abolitionist movement. Douglass traveled widely giving speeches and published his own autobiography and an anti-slavery newspaper, the North Star. Some consider Douglass to be the most influential former slave or free black in the abolitionist movement. Sarah and Angelina Grimke were white Southern women who lectured publicly throughout northern states regarding the evils of slavery that they witnessed growing up on a plantation. The abolition campaign included both men and women, and it included Northerners and Southerners. For the first time, blacks began to play a significant role in the movement. Instead of a gradualist approach, the new abolitionists called for immediate emancipation without compensation for slave owners. Abolition became a divisive issue as Southern states reacted to growing hostility in the North towards slavery. Slave rebellions also began to occur, which caused slave owners to implement even harsher restrictions on slaves. The black preacher Nat Turner believed his mission on earth was to free his people from slavery. When he saw an 1831 solar eclipse as a message from God, he led a slave rebellion on 4 Virginia plantations. Approximately 60 whites were killed before Turner and his followers were captured, tried, and executed. Fear and anger over the murder of primarily white women and children led to many innocent blacks becoming the victims of mob violence. Virginia, a state that was considering banning slavery, instead passed a series of laws strengthening slavery. Other southern states quickly passed laws that followed Virginia's lead that reflected a stricter control on slavery.